Duh, 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 duh. Nick Martin. Duh, 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 duh. Nick Martin. Hello and welcome back. Had to get that one out because Nick Martin came to play this week and it was a very good score from him. 136. That's what we love to see. And, a lot of people jumped off him, but we stuck with him and it's really helped us catch up a little bit in the ranks. So we didn't have the best score. I kind of thought this would happen because I really didn't go that extra upgrade last week, but we did go up in ranks. I'm aiming to get to like that, 10K or above, below. That would be good. But it's going to be hard. The good thing is that with Martin scoring good, a lot of people are going to him this week, or from what I can see. So that could mean that we have a good chance to, catch up by making some moves and using that to, catch up that one play that we may have been behind, hopefully. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about the team value, which I need to figure out because this is probably about 11.65 with the money in the bank, but a lot of teams are like 11.7, 11.8. So bit of a worry there, especially not going Dempsey last week. But yeah, not too bad a score this week. Yeah, pretty happy with it considering, we're only 200 or 300 points from like top 5,000, so it's not over. But yeah, it's going to be hard from here. Yeah, slowly getting there. And hopefully we can take another good step this week. All right, so let's get into it then. God, if we press X once, can we just have that gone? Thank you. All right, so Sheasel, yeah, good week from him. Just keeps putting out great scores, and we're really, really happy with that. So that's great to see. Dacos, so he was, we could have traded him out last week. I did think about it, but I just felt like it was one where we're going to trade him out and then trade him back in. And like, if you're going to do that, I feel like you need to make, 150K at the minimum to make it like worth it. And like the options you were probably going down to are like Bramble, who only went for 30 or whatever. And like, there was probably a couple others. Maybe you could have made 80K going to like a Whitfield or a McGovern, but I don't know. It just feels like it's a trade out for a trade in play is probably the same and will score the same. So unless you're going to like 200 or 300K and getting a real, massive amount of money, it just didn't seem worth it. And a lot of the competition is still on Dacos, so why not just keep him and not go against that? Yeah, Nas went well. This score could have been a lot higher, but the bloke turned over the ball quite a bit and, got some free kicks paid against him. So this could have been like a 125, 130, but I'm still pretty happy with the 114 because I was a bit worried playing it like Norwood with the smaller oval. But he was able to put in a good score. Him did really well. And yeah, he's still getting kickouts. He's still the guy they're looking for to, run and carry off the back line. And he does look really, really good in, quite a few plays. It's just a few clangers he had, which is probably from the smaller oval that didn't help. Mass kind of has dropped back to earth a little bit, hasn't he? Like, this is probably the scoring I kind of expected from him, like 60 to 70s. Of course, he went 115 in the first round or 120, and it's just like, well, you have to get him, especially with like backing it up with like an 80 or 90, because he's just going to make so much money. But the last 2 weeks since people have got him in, since the bubble, he's gone 68 and 63, and it's like, God, like there's probably other places you could have gone, but at the same time, like the defense is pretty weak. And there's other players like Bramble that people got on that failed this week, and it's just like, well, at least you're with the crowd, and if he goes bad, most people go bad. So not too worried, I guess, about Mass, but he may be time to move on. His break even's up to, I think, 48 or so, so we really need to keep an eye on him. Williams played a good game. He still seems unfit. I think he came off injured at the end or a bit sore. He ran through a pack and booted the ball into the 50 and he looked like he might have been a bit sore after that, but hopefully he pulls up all right and we get him because our backline's already ravished with injuries, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to make a change here and do something. So we'll see there. Howes was lucky to get to 46, as we all know. So just happy to see that he did get to 46 because 20 or something would have been bad, especially because we did think about trading him out last week. But 46 will have to do, especially because a lot of people traded to Draper who went 20, so it was kind of a win, his 46. Bontempelli, well, I couldn't do this last week when I captained you. Of course, you put the foot off the gas against West Coast, who actually don't seem to be as bad as many think they will be. But yeah, Bont just being Bont, bumped back up to 141. And it looks like Green was the new Bont this week because he, struggled against the goal. Well, didn't struggle because he still went over 100, but like it's not the captain score you wanted from Green. And those who gave up the Gorn VC, which, is a little bit frustrating. The fact that, you think 129 should be good enough. Hopefully it's just like a 130, 140 for the other scores. And then Heaney goes out and gets 165. And, I did flag, I thought it would be a down game coming. West Coast probably not the team, but I thought, this is where you captain him and he just goes like 70 or 80. But, Heaney's proving this year that he's in ripper form. And he just seems like he's just a threat to go 130 minimum at the moment, especially with them giving him mid-time. And like Adams was back in and like they're still chucking Heaney in there. So good to see. Sarong, so disappointing from Sarong. And I think this is something I've been trying to, a guy I watch YouTube with fantasy MBAs, he's always talking about how like when you're looking at players, you probably have in mind an average you think they're going to go. And, if a player, and, I probably should have kept this in mind with Sarong. I would have probably thought Sarong was probably 115, 120. And he went 170 in his first game. But you got to keep in mind that if you think they're going to be 120, 115, then some down games are going to come, which pushes them to that mark. And, this is one of those down games where Carlton put a bit of, pressure on him with Hewitt, who I also have. And, that was a bit of a frustrating thing to see. But, a 90's not, really a big failure, but it's not good either, especially when you're paying 640K for him. Because he's going to drop money now. Unless he can get back to a big score, but Port Adelaide is hard and they'll probably put Drew to him. So, that's going to be a bit of an interesting watch. Nick Martin, obviously, we talked about him in the intro. He's done it again. He's gone hard against Port, and finally it's actually good competition, and the role was still there. And this is why it was kind of interesting to see people trading him out, because I thought, like, with, for example, Young, you could kind of see he just didn't really know how to play the position necessarily, maybe needed a bit more time, but he was going to lose quite a bit of money. But I think Martin was still getting a lot of disposals. It just wasn't really translating to the scores, and now it looks like he's got it together. He's kind of got the role a bit better, and so does Young, to be fair. But, I guess Martin had that mid-defender swap. If we kept Young, we'd have been happy as well, but I guess that gave us the money to do other things in our team. It's funny how if I didn't go Sarong, I'd be plus points and plus money for Young now, but that's the way Supercoach goes, isn't it? And yeah, Hewitt's score is probably lucky to be 103. It's quite annoying because he's still getting like max CBAs, but he is playing a bit. He did play a bit more of a tagging role from what I watched this week, following Sarong. And it's funny because as soon as Carlton go, oh shit, we actually need to, win this, Hewitt lets go of the tagging role and then actually tries to get clearances. And that's where he starts to pump his score up. And that's kind of what happened in this game. I mean, that last kick was like, oh, we need to get the ball and we need to get it forward. And he got in, got the clearance. And even though it was touched and it was lucky and it pumped his score like probably 15, 20 points, that showed that when he was actually trying to get the ball, it was helping him score and he can score. But, Carlton seemed destined to use him in his tagging role, which I don't know if it helped. Them tagging Sarong was actually bad because Fremantle's gameplay was to play slow, play this uncontested mark, which Carlton played into for some reason instead of playing their normal run and gun. And it wasn't until the last 10 minutes where you went, Carlton, 5 to 10 minutes, Carlton can actually look good and actually look better than Fremantle. Fremantle were defending for their life, no doubt. And whether or not that was touched or not, but Carlton looked like they were just pushing and it was going to come. If there was another minute, it probably would have come as well. we got lucky. We benefited off of it, and it was good to see. Bonner, my man Bonner, yeah, great score. Frustratingly, he was off for like the last 7 minutes of game time, where a lot of it was a lot of scaling. Like he was at 95 and then dropped back to 88 just because he didn't touch the ball in those last 5 minutes because he wasn't on field in those last 5 minutes, which was really frustrating because this could have been another 100. Like, yeah, there was just no goals and nothing, no stoppages of play where they could swap him, and he was just stuck on the interchange, which was frustrating. But 88 end of the day is quite good because a lot of people had like Sanders and McKercher on field, whereas we have Bonner and McKercher, so we got 6 points there, I guess. But yeah, Roberts just keeps going well. His score was actually looking pretty rough until like the last quarter, where it just opened up a little bit and he was getting a bit more uncontested ball. And yeah, he pushed to an 80 and he looks to be probably the best midfield moneymaker, I'd say. I mean, it depends because Sanders looks really, really nice in the midfield there. It's just whether he ties, I guess. And McKercher played a bit of a midfield role. Nord game, so oh no, not Nord. They played in the Hills actually, but it was a bit of a rougher game against Brisbane. Brisbane, although haven't been playing well, I still think a pretty hard score on for like midfielders, which is where he was playing, and it was kind of shown through like Powell and LDU and Wardlaw. Like none of them scored well, so yeah, hopefully he just gets back to that bit of backline role in the next few games, and I think Geelong's ground is quite good for that. I mean, Stewart's always scored well there, so yeah, hopefully we see that. And yeah, Sanders looks really good. I probably near on move to putting him on field above McKercher now, just because his time on ground's not great, but he's just looks so good in the midfield. And I think Bevo's not going to muck around with him as much now. They've got probably more issues throughout their playing side than Sanders. Although McRae was sub, so that's kind of like a guy they could sub him out for. But yeah, hopefully not. And Lazaro didn't play, but we decided to keep him because he's got good looping capabilities through to like round 9 with the forward line. I guess for the next 2 rounds it doesn't matter because we've got buys, but actually next round I don't actually think we have anyone in the forward line, do we? Yeah, so this is actually only this round he's not really effectual in there or in the midfield. And Clark, yeah, frustrating because if you had Sharp, you'd be so much happier. And like I just sat on Clark because I was like, yeah, who did Geelong have in the midfield with Danger injured and Atkins was injured? And it's like, well, Clark's going to have to get some mid time, but he could be dropped this week, and that would suck because he hasn't made much money. And I'd kind of nearly want to move him on if it wasn't for the defense, but what it would be to have Sharp, like that's an extra 70k. Probably going to be an extra, 130 on top of that. Like he's going to be so much better. And it's just annoying because I like Sharp and I just didn't pick him because I didn't think Freo were going to pick him as he wasn't there were so many wings he was competing with, but he's obviously outplayed them all now. So, good on the people who picked him. And yeah, Gorn VC, I just had to take the 129 after the previous week. But that's two captain. Like I would have captained Heaney and I would have captained Gorn the previous week. That's like what 170, 165, probably an extra 80 or 90 points, which makes a big difference in the big scheme of things. Like it's probably top 30, 25k now, but who cares? That happens. Can't pick them all. And yeah, Grundy disappointment. I wanted to get off Grundy after what was it? His practice game where it was like really, really bad, and then he came out round 0. I feel like round 0 there was a few guys there who just kind of put up some fake numbers, and Grundy, yeah, he just hasn't really lived up to it. Like a 103 for a ruckman ain't great, and especially when there was other ruckmen like Jerry, and even just going English would have been better. And even I think Rowan's above him as well. Yeah, bit of a frustrating one because I was kind of thinking, English go and set and forget would be nice. because we've done it before with like Grundy gone, like previous years, and we spent a lot on it, like 50k maybe less, but yeah. Anyway, he'll be gone this week, and yeah, Heaney we've already spoken about. Rankin, as I said in the last video, 88's not the worst. It could have been a lot worse. I'll take the 88. As I said, the Crows aren't winning yet. They're not winning, and he's going at 85. Like this can go well. Problem is, he's going to be cheap, and everyone's going to jump on him at that point. But hopefully, there's some other players who pop up that are more favourable, let's say, or there's guys that are in the midfield or something that people want. Yeah, Power, as we discussed, a bit disappointing, especially because Fisher went 2 points above. Yeah, he had 15 tackles, just didn't touch the ball, and most of them were handballs even when he did. So, yeah, a bit frustrating. Jordan, yeah, this is painful as well because I was going to go down to Dempsey, which is like an extra probably 40k extra points on field, another 23 points. And, yeah, I should have just thought about it really and gone like, if Jordan goes well, we're probably trading him out at the buy anyway, and the money difference isn't going to be that great. And Dempsey's probably cheaper, opens up way more money, and probably does the same. That extra 140k would have been real helpful this week, but you make decisions, you got to live with them, eh? So we made the decision and we're living with it. Probably should have gone a bit harder, but that happens. And, I was going to trade Reed and decided against it as well. So we kept that, got the 91. He looked really good. I hope West Coast play him in the midfield more because he just, you know what? And I thought about this game with Harley Reid, and I thought Sydney are a lot of young blokes and they like contested ball. And Reid looks like the type of guy who in future years is going to be like a Cripps 2.0, but hopefully without the injuries, where he's just smashing through. And like he was throwing some of them around. Like even Heaney said in the post-match interview, like Reid is a big boy, and he like threw him around a few times, and that's what Reid showed. Once he gets his stamina up, he's going to be a scary proposition in that midfield. So, and I hope he stays, on the West Coast. Like it'd be good. I feel like West Coast midfielders haven't really been relevant since like Gaff years ago. Kelly came over, but he's never really been able to like put it together. And I'm just hoping like Reid just looks like he's going to be a different beast once he's fit. And thought that the Sydney boys like Warner would get into him and he'd be like, all right, I'm here for this. And looks like it's what happened. The early goal does help with that. And yeah, Darcy, good trade in. Time of ground, not great, but yeah, good trade in. Just to go back to the trades actually, because it's always good to quickly check. I went Holmes and Sexton for Powell and Darcy, so we gained points, but yeah, I would, if we did Jordan to Dempsey, we would have been really happy. And then yeah, Cameron and Wilson on the bench. So I mean, that's the review of the team, and now it's kind of looking at what we're going to do this week. So the two trades, we're definitely going to be doing a Jordan Grundy, and then we're left open to interpretation on the last one. So really, what I'm thinking about is, and I know it's, he has made a lot of money, this guy, but I kind of like the idea of getting Tom Brown. The reason being is he looked quite good on the back flank for Richmond. He looks like a clean kick, and he just looks like he's playing the role that Short used to play, but with a little better foot skills. Like Short's still getting a lot of 25 possessions, but he's just not using it well. And Brown looked lively back there. This could be a mistake, but end of the day, I'm not doing this reactionary to Dempsey, I guess, but like, we skipped Dempsey at 215, and Brown looks to have the same scoring potential, and he's getting better as he goes. And like, it could be one of those rookies that we get that, Dempsey's not there. We get Brown, and he looks like he's at least got some sort of job security. Hopefully, maybe not. I don't know, but end of the day, it's best 18, and we'll make some cash off him. Like, I think I was looking at it, and he's going to make, 47K next week if he just scores, or if he scores a 71, which, should be able to do. But even the money's like pretty good. He still could make 140K just scoring 70s. So, in saying that, if he can score 70s, we're really happy with that. But like, if he goes like an 80 or 90 again, which I don't think's too far out of his realm, he could go really well. And he's got West Coast next. Like, that should be a good matchup. Melbourne have let defenders score fairly well. Fremantle, as we know, love to play the uncontested, kick mark. So maybe they'll let the defenders do that as well. Dogs also let defenders score. So the next four are quite decent. And even after that, like Essendon's all right, Geelong, Adelaide, Hawthorn, like I could keep him to their round 15 bye. I don't mind doing that. And I know we're going to get guys we can push back there, but at least we've got someone who's a bit of, some good coverage on the bench. It's not a whore. And even a Reed, he just feels like he's going to be like a key defender like Pink, who could score well, but could go really bad. And who knows? But we can loot these two, which is good as well. So I'm going to do that for now. And then I don't know if we're going to go Whore or House. I'm probably going to go Whore, but I could get rid of House. And then that leaves us 962K. And this is where I've had a lot of trade ideas, really. I've been playing around a lot. Like, I think if Hordes goes, then if House goes, we get a bit more cash to play with. But I wanted to go, and one of the reasons I'm also keeping him is because I wanted to go this, and then I'd like English. Because I think English has the pedigree where he'll just go 100 every week, whereas Marshall is the other decision to make. We just don't know. He could go well, he could go badly. Obviously he does score well, but like he's got Briggs and he's got English, and then Port Adelaide he does really well against. And then I guess he's got North and Hawthorn, which should be easy, but I don't know. Apparently Ross said he was sore, so they might bring in Campbell. And at least I know with English it's either Darcy, who's not getting much TOG anyway, or Lob, who English dealt with last year anyway. So I feel like that's a bit better. Or this is the risky one, which is going Lloyd Meek. Now Meek has shown that he can score really, really well at Fremantle when he was sole rock. It's never really translated to Hawthorn. Like, he would go 90s every week at Fremantle. Last year, like, we look at Meek last year. Where is he? If I just minus this and then go rock. Here he is. So if we look at Meek, like last year, if I go to 2023, like we can see he went, some of these were Reeves. I think he had this little patch here where he went 110, 112, and that was without Reeves, and then all of a sudden 78. And that West Coast wasn't a good rock. 62, 22, 108. And then he kind of got dropped. So he can go good, but he can also go bad. And that's the risk you're probably taking. I kind of like, it's another, the thing I like about Meek is it's another cash generator. But I was looking at the money he'd make as well, and it's not great. Like, I think it's like if he scores, if we look at his projections, if he goes 61, 75, he's only making 50K, and then his like projection goes out to 99, his break even. So we'd really need him to go like 90 next week to keep the break even low. Because if he goes 90 next week, he's probably making 50K, and then it's probably another 30K, which is 80, which probably makes it worth it with like the 100K you're going down. Problem is like, is English going to put like 70 points on him a week, or, is Marshall going to put 50 or 60 points on him a week? Like, that's a lot. And I know you're making, 250K that you can put elsewhere, but is it worth it is the only question I have. So saying that, we'll go Marshall. And then this next position, I'm not really sure about. So we got 430k, and I think does this allow? And I think it does allow. No, it doesn't allow for JHF. So we're just off Horn Francis, so which would have been interesting. So we're off by 2k. That would have been interesting, considering their run, but it does feel like just like a trade for no reason. Like he's not a keeper. It feels like a starting pick, like a Martin or Wines or whatever. It doesn't feel like a pick that is going to continue this type of run, because he's got to fight with Butters and Rosie. And like Butters probably had the down week this week. Rosie had the up week, and then it kind of is going to switch between them. But 430k doesn't leave us much to play with. So it's like, where do we go? Do we go? I mean, if Lions plays, is it worth it? He's just going to get dropped if he does play. Like, there's no consistency with his play. Do we go like see Crisp's too expensive and he's also on the buy? It's just like there isn't much here. We go to pricing here, 250k and below. We've got Graham, but I'd rather just wait a week. Where who doesn't have the best job security either. Windsor, who's probably too expensive. Berry, not good job security. And then below that, like, who scored well? Finn McGuinness, tagger, who's probably going to get dropped this week. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he did play obviously decently, but I don't know. If we go to the defense, I'm not sure if it's much better. Like, we got Closey, which could be good. But yeah, it's kind of the same deal. And this is why it kind of makes me want to go for a guy like Meek a little bit. Because if I go Meek, I can go someone better in over the midfield or forward line. I'm just not sure who. Or I could even go I can't. I have to go a midfielder. Because if we go Marshall out and then we go Meek, this just feels not great. Then we have 680k, and we could go a defender, and we could just go someone like Ryan or McGovern. I really liked Yo's game on the weekend. I feel like he's getting a lot of the midfield time, but he's just, a constant injury risk. Like, if you could tell me he wouldn't get injured, that'd be nice. It's funny, Boston, this is a probably pretty good example of what I was saying. Like, Boston, what would you expect him to average? He went 165 last week, and then he drops to 45. So that's what brings him back to that 90, 100 average that you probably expect from him. So the interesting part now, McGovern's actually I don't mind McGovern. What I don't like is the money that I'm using. Because for example, if I don't go Brown, and let's say we go Closey, I'm just off of being able to get Marshall. Like, I'd probably do this if I could get Marshall, which is frustrating. Or I could even go, even Whitfield's just too much, which is the painful thing, because if we'd gone Jordan down last week, we'd have cash to do it. So, I don't know. It's a hard one to think about. But I think for now, I'm going to go Marshall and Brown. And this is why I was keeping Howes as well, because I felt like that it was just better to keep him, and I'll trade. Well, I could just do these two for now. Let's confirm that for now and see what it looks like. The 1963 is isn't too bad projected, but that's off the back of a Gorn 167, 69. Sorry. So which I'll be VCing Gorn into probably Bont against Essendon. God, if you're ballsy, you go Nick Martin, but I don't think I'm that ballsy, to be honest. But yeah, this is kind of the state of play. I don't mind not using a boost. The only thing I could use a boost to do is get like Closey early. And then if we get Closey early, because Howes is the bye next week. And I actually don't think this is that bad a play. So if we have Closey this week, that gives us 329 for next week. I don't know why. Why does that change it so? Oh no, is that because of this? Yeah, it is. All right, so yeah, if we go Closey, especially with the best 18, I actually think that's not too bad because it leaves us 329k for next week. And we can look at doing some upgrades, like Bonner might be at the end. And also guys like Reed or McKercher, like I think McKercher could be close, or even just gives us some cash to play with. D'Ambrosio, like players like that could be going. And also we've got quite a few downgrade options next week. So if we look at players and we go to the 250k and we'll go cash cows. Like we've got a few. How many? Okay, so let's just go protected cash change. So Lazaro, see, he's one of these top ones in the 200 and he could get a game. They were pretty disappointing. But anyway, if we go below that, guys who look like making money after next week, Kyle Lohman would actually be nice. If he gets a game, I might go him. I don't know who they have though. Melbourne, that's a little bit of a hard matchup because Melbourne's defense is quite good, and then Geelong doesn't seem like it's that great either, but it is at the Gabba. That's actually a hard three. Like Melbourne, Geelong, GWS are probably three of the better teams this year. So that might turn me off him actually. Let's just bring this down to like 180. So then we've got next week, we will have, so Sonsi was interesting actually as well. And he could be one that I trade down to as well this week because he does have West Coast and kind of an interesting run after that. I thought there was actually more here. Well, we got that Caleb Graham. Let's actually just go take this cash cows off for a sec. Sorry about this, bit all over the place, but we go total points. So Ramsden, interesting, 71. Like he'll be on the bubble. Will Graham, also interesting, defender midfielder, which we like. I think Lafau would actually be, if he goes big, he'd be like 160, which isn't like the worst to jump on a rookie that looks like scoring well. Like he's got better each week and actually looked quite dangerous for Richmond against St Kilda. And then you've got guys like Ethan Reid getting a game as ruck. Could be interesting if he gets another game. Sonsi, as we discussed Sonsi, but yeah, like Parnell obviously was a bit frustrating. I think Hasty would be surely going down money. How do you start at 123, 117k and you're going down money, 48 probably. Jesus, break even of 48. But Kame McCullough for sub. So that was a bit and I think he had an ankle issue, which was a bit unlucky for him. Rawlinson got on late, didn't look too bad, but hard in the West Coast as a small forward. Fantasia's gone down money, and hasn't looked the most in form. And then the other one is Common, who's a little bit more expensive, so I'll go 240. So yeah, Common 129, and actually Mitch Georgiadis could be also an interesting role player because he's in a good team and he's actually got job security. 230k is quite a bit, but he could be an interesting player to pick up as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on him. Alan Dawson had a good game as well, actually. The last thing I wanted to do quickly is just have a quick look at the CBAs, because I want to look at Tom Power, because I'm a bit worried about, did his CBAs go down, or was it just... he still got... Well, they did go down a little bit, 12%, but, I mean, and Wardlaw went up. So that's where they got swapped. So I guess he's still third, and like McKercher's obviously got a bit more, so that affects things. And Simpkin just lost some, which I think is good. I think Simpkin, I don't know, he's never really been able to get to that play they needed. So yeah, that's interesting. Carlton's was still George Hewitt. Now we discussed Saligo. So he's went up to 59, which is only actually 6 more. But I think he's probably a player for next year who might break out. Although if they decide to change it up a little bit more, maybe he will get some more Liverpool time. But anyway, we went on a bit of a tangent there, but that's the team for now. So we've banked a bit of cash. Closey looks like he's got job security. Maybe instead of Howes, I'll just take 20k, but like I like having 329k there. And Howes has got the bye next week anyway, so not the worst. But for now, this is going to be the plan. We might come back and have a look at some more players in that mid-range that you might be looking to upgrade to later on in the week. But for now, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're all getting back onto Nick Martin. It's only 2% at the moment, but we'll see if that changes, because he's going to be really useful as that DPP swing. And like if I can trade like Core and put Martin in there and get like a midfield rookie or a forward, move my forward line around when that time comes, it'll be really good. Because like even moving like trading Ambrosio next week and putting Dacos there, and then like, oh, this looks like it's actually going to be not the worst, especially once I can get Martin and McKercher up there. So yeah, this is the plan for now. Yeah, we'll hopefully see you in the next video. Cheers.